Hey, Sherry. Hello, Crystal. We still have just a few moments, so I just like to get in a little bit early to get everything set up and get all my notes together and all that other sort of stuff. Hey, Maria. People already logging in. And David. Hello, David. I haven't seen you in a long time, actually. So, like I said, I'm just getting my notes together. We'll start real soon. And Craig. Hey, Craig. Craig, you had a great question. We're going to touch on that. I see your wave. Okay. I got some really great questions for today's show, so I'm really happy about that. And we're going to be talking about tarot spreads and all that other sort of stuff. How's the lighting? Is it, hey Rita, is it light enough? It's kind of like ambiance or moody lighting. Is everything seem okay? Is it light enough you could see me okay? I'm actually trying to block, I'm in my bedroom here, so I'm trying to okay, I saw the lights, make sure everything is okay. I didn't want it to be so bright and like fluorescent looking, that sort of thing. And like I said, we're going to be touching on tarot spreads. So if you have any questions, hold on to that. And when we get into the meat of the discussion, post them so I can touch on everything here. So you like the lighting? Thank you. I have this whole, Google thing going on here. I'm slowly transferring my little cottage. I live in a little cottage. It's a pretty remote area here. And it's all smart lighting and, all that other sort of stuff. So I can adjust it with my voice and stuff. So I'm having some fun with the lighting and, it's kind of pretty right now. But when it was regular white light, it was a little bit too bright and, didn't look so nice. And hey, Selena, I haven't seen you in forever. And Eric, hey, Eric, it's good to see you. Okay. So let's just see where we're at now. We have two minutes to go. So we'll kind of, again, if you have any questions, we'll get started on that. But hello, Amber. Again, as I say every time, if you would jot down where you're from, it really helps me to understand where everybody is coming from, how far the reach is. What the need is for this subject. We're going to be touching on other things too, spirituality, all sorts of different things. We'll start to branch out in time as well. You know what I mean? And I had another thought where I would have people come on and we would read for one another and then see what everybody thinks about that. So that's a good thing. Hi, Els. Good to see you, hon. So our subject today, I'm just gonna, it's a minute to go. I'm gonna get started on tarot spreads. Alrighty. And it's something that a lot of people have been asking me in the past to touch on. And I was a little hesitant at first because I wasn't sure how advanced people were. Hey, Els. And sometimes people get a bit overwhelmed by tarot spreads. And I want to make it as simple as possible because, to be honest with you, hey Mary, I don't necessarily use big elaborate spreads because I'm an intuitive reader, and sometimes I just allow the cards to fall out into whatever configuration I need. But then there are others that I find that I will use directly. And I think it helps me with a certain focus in when I'm doing a reading. So for any of you that are out there, I'm like stumbling on my words again today. I have many people that I've read for out there already. I already can see maybe 4 or 5 of them there. And some of you will come to me for your yearly birthday reading. And so I have a spread that I use for that, alrighty? Then if somebody wants something very, very clear and concise, if they want a direct question, so not a cold reading, if they want something question, I may just do a 3-card reading, see what comes up from that, and then I'll clarify. each. So it's almost like a tree. So I'll start with the 3-card reading, and then past, present, and future, if it's that, or it could be today, tomorrow, the next day, or last year, this year, next year. It's whatever I deem it to be, and we'll touch on that. And then each one, I will go down and clarify each one. Those are probably the most common ones that I do, alrighty? And the one that I do every day, I use 4 and 4. So 4 across and then 4 down. All right, and I read each one as it goes forth. And pretty much the first one answers the question. Hi, Melissa. The first one will answer a question, and then the others will clarify those, the first card, alrighty? And that's just a purely intuitive thing. Hey, Michelle. That's an intuitive thing. Sometimes I'll just go, okay, I'm just going to throw one card in and see what happens. And please, everybody out there, chime in and tell me what you do. I have a pet peeve with a lot of decks, and that is this. They start you off with the Celtic Cross. So give me 1 second here. I think I have, yeah. Let's see if you can see that. Okay? Now, most decks, most books will start you out with the Celtic Cross. It's not one of my favorites. And the reason why I say that is I would never start a beginner on the Celtic Cross. I think 10 cards, understanding the positions, unless of course you draw up the diagram. Hi, Lisa. And we have John there. Now, Lisa, she goes to a tarot meetup on a monthly basis, and so she's really into the tarot, so I know these things. Hey, sweetie. And Craig. Now, Craig writes, I do a 9-card reading with a 7-card spread. So now, Craig, for most beginners, that would be a little confusing. 7-card spread, why 7 cards? If you could clarify that. See, Maria's agreeing with me. It's only because I think it's too complex a reading in the beginning for somebody who's not well versed in the tarot, or they're learning the tarot. I would prefer to have somebody start with a 3-card reading, and then if they want more information, clarify each card. Alrighty, so it's not so easy. I know, and it's okay if you disagree with me, and if you're also a reader out there, please let me know if you disagree. Tell me why, because that will help me, because every time I do these shows, I learn something more. In fact, every time I do a reading for somebody, I learn something. So that is a good thing. So it sounds a little counterintuitive, right? Alrighty, so that's 10 cards that you need to know, plus you need to know what each position stands for. Now, I can do it, but I've been doing this for like 30 years. So, again, what would work for you? So, I will start somebody with a past, present, and future. Alrighty. Yes, Tracy, she writes, 3-card spreads are great for beginners. But you know what? I'm even going to add to that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a beginner for that, because sometimes when you want to do something very quickly, you can use that. So Mary writes, I do the Celtic Cross, then after that, I reshuffle and do a 5-day forecast. That's pretty cool. And then Els writes, to clarify, do you just pull out the next card from the deck, or do I have a person draw? Okay, so Els, good question. Now, I might be a little bit of a rebel, but when I'm doing the tarot, I will ask my client if they want to do the pulling of the cards, or should I, or I allow if I allow Spirit to tell me what I need to do. So if I sense that somebody is really, really tense and confused and they're all over the place, like hyperactive and all that, they're not going to get a good reading. I will after saging the cards and anything, I will tell them that I will then pull it. But Els, normally if using tarot, not necessarily oracle, and I'll explain that in a minute, I have them pull the cards. Alrighty, so I hope that that you understand that. So Craig writes, they pull their own card that goes on the top, then 2 rows of 3. Okay, so take a look at what Craig is writing, because this is his ways of doing it. Alrighty, and then he reads it from top to bottom. Yes, it can, and this is Eric. It can be complex. The way I was guided was with the Tower of the Old Path, as it included definitive statements in each card's purpose as you lay the cards down. Right, okay, that makes sense. And you can also have the cards do mind, body, and spirit. Yes, I agree. Hey, April. Like I said, with the 3-card reading, it could be past, present, future, or as Lisa said, mind, body, spirit. I have 3 children, so how about 1 card for each child? Alrighty, or this year, next year, the following year, this week, next week, the following week. It could, you can configure it the way you need to, and how do you know that is based on the type of question that you had. So a 3-card reading is very powerful. That spread is very, very powerful. Just if you want to use it in regards to as a spread, alrighty, make sure that you know the intent, right? I wish I had my table here in front of you. Hello, Sherry. And, you know, give each space an intent. So, for instance, so I have my cards, and I'm using the Rider-Waite. So, if I were to use past, present, and future, I just want a 3-card spread. We know that the first position is past. So, I'm going to pull a card here, and the Emperor. All right, that's past. I already know who that is right off the bat. Present, okay. For the purposes of this class, I'm not going to use reversals. We'll talk about that another time. So I have the 5 of Wands, and that's present, and future, all right, or advice for the future, okay. And the first thing that I pulled is the World. So past is the Emperor. That's my father, okay? He definitely was very strict person, okay? Then I have the 5 of Wands. Now, remember, I look at Wands as an air sign. I don't look at Wands as a fire sign. And I know that there are many people that look at things otherwise, all right? So, hello, David, and hey, Rose. You understand where I'm coming from. So, there's a bit of there's a discussion as to the element associations in the tarot. So to me, wands are air. So 5 of Wands, competing, battling over ideas, things like that. My dad's real old school. I'm not. So presently, he still sometimes has a problem with what I do because I was raised Roman Catholic. He accepts it, but he's not 100%. So past, present, and future. But the future advice is the World, which is absolutely wonderful. It means I'm still going to do well with my ideas, thoughts, even though he might disagree, and I still have those issues, and I have a problem with people telling me what to do. I'll listen, I'll let it macerate, and then I go with, because I can be pretty aggressive, and I like my ideas there. So I would have to learn how to deal with that. Alrighty. So that's past, present, and future. Here, let's have some fun with this. Somebody else come up with the 3-card spread. What would you like to see it? And Eric. Oh, hey, Sandra. Good to see you. I would agree with, this is from Eric. I agree with you with your elemental relationships. Yeah, I look at that. So instead of past, present, and future, what would you like the next 3 to be? And I'll do the readings. Okay, and to be honest with you, I encourage all of you to do the same, and then you can post this. So this way, it's kind of interactive. Alrighty. So what would you like the next 3 to be? Thank you, Sandra. Okay, while I'm waiting for somebody to come up with an idea, Oh, actually, Lisa, if you're still there, I'm going to test you. So mind, body, and spirit. Lisa, since this is your spread, I would like you to pull the 3 and then post it here. And then we can have a discussion about that. And Lisa, am I able to bring you on? Would you like to do that? I think that would be real cool. The next 3 months. Okay, mind, body, and spirit. Problem, solution, outcome. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to leave mind, body, and spirit to Lisa. Alrighty. And then Craig writes problem, solution, and outcome. Okay, so problem. All right, so let me pull out the first one. So problem is justice. Alrighty. Now, I'm a Libra, so go figure that would. Problem, solution. All right. Solution, 3 of Cups. So it looks as if whatever that solution is looking real good here, right? And now, outcome. And the outcome is the Wheel of Fortune. Alrighty. So, overall, I'm looking at this as being a pretty good, and I love the fact that justice came out, because the problem, and I don't know if it's a problem, the problem with me is decision making in regards to the situation that I'm dealing with now. So when I look at it as being justice, it's justified. So to be honest with you, I'm wondering if I'm making the right decision, and whatever decision I make is justified. All right, when looking at this way, then the middle card is the 3 of Cups. So to me, 3s are about resolution. Hey, Deborah, I see resolution and something that I would love to do, especially with family, friends, and community when I see this. And Cups has to do with love. So this is really looking good. And then I got the Wheel of Fortune. Alrighty. Generally, the Wheel of Fortune, if it's upright, means things will turn out for the better. What goes around comes around, right? With this one. But it also has a lot to do with karma and the effort that I put into something. So in regards to what I'm thinking about, thank you, Craig. This was really good. This looks very, very good to me. Alrighty. So Lisa, you still there? Oh, you're at work. I'm not able to do it, but I can do it later. Okay, no problem. Okay, my sister Margaret is on. Margaret, I want you to think about something. Yeah. Margaret, come up. We're reading right now, alrighty? And what I'm doing is a 3-card spread. What would you like me to read on? And I'll break it down. Okay, so Margaret, if you're up to it, let me know. Oh, that was awesome. Thank you, Maria. And Chris is on. Very cool. Yay, Chris. She's all formal with me. Alrighty. So we're doing that. So all right, Tracy, since Lisa can't do it right now, your question, I'm just looking at this again. Oh, all right, hold on a second. Maria, the next 3 months. And please, I hope you're doing the same thing so we can have this be interactive. So, Maria, you said the next 3 months in regards to you or regards to me. So, answer me if you can in the comments and let me know. So, right now that was 2 3-card spreads. I'm Leah. Okay. I'm going to do 3-card readings to show people how to use that, and then we're going to go into other things. So that's how we're doing that. Okay. Leah, let me see how much time we have at the end. All right. If you're asking me to do something to you. All right. So, okay. Stress relief in the future. So Maria and Margaret. So Maria, 3 months. So I'm going to pull the 3 cards here. So 1 month. Look at this, Maria. We have the 10 of Cups. Alrighty. So that really, really looks good. Alrighty. So that's community, people getting together, things that you love to do. And now we have the Sun. Alrighty. So we know that the Sun is about new beginnings and such. but it's also illumination, inspiration, things like that. So this is the second month for you, Maria. Wow. Alrighty. And then we have the King of Swords. Alrighty. So, Maria, I actually like this, but it's a very aggressive looking card, isn't it? And you could see behind his head, you can see those horns. You could see the colors. He's sitting in his own power. Intuitively, I have a feeling that there's also more teaching coming your way. Or maybe in regards to your business, if you're teaching others, somebody else to come in here. Because even though swords are associated with fire, problem solving, and getting things done, it's also legal stuff. And I feel that you're going to be on top of that. Again, I don't know. I know what your business is, but I don't know the nature of your business, if you understand me. And you being the king of your own domain. So putting all three, look, I wouldn't be surprised if you were also challenged by somebody else who does what you do. Alrighty. So I'm going to put that out. Again, part of that was intuitive. Hey, Jody. And now for my sister, she wants to ask about stress relief in her home. So obviously I know a lot there. So what I'm going to do is break it down into the 3 steps. Alrighty, for being that we're doing the 3 card readings. So Margaret, if you're still listening, I'm throwing 3 cards down here. So the 3 steps. Okay, so we have the 2 of Cups. Alrighty. Now, she didn't ask about love. Oh, thanks, Maria. Hey, it's good to see you, Jody. She didn't ask about love, so we're not going to be talking about love. Hey, Dorothy, and Mike is on. What I look at this is relationship or developing relationship, almost like a partnership or not camaraderie. Camaraderie is not the word. That's not what I'm looking for. But it's the coming together of ideas. 2 people sharing ideas, camaraderie, partnership. It's very calm. As long as you come up with a resolution of some sorts. That's how I'm looking at it. All right, so you see that, Margaret? So that's your first card. That's the first step to stress relief. The second step is Cups again. Alrighty. And he's sitting there and he's got all the cups around here. So this is very emotional. We have 2 cards that have to deal with emotional. Alrighty. So obviously, Margaret, this is when it comes to stress and family life and all that. Look at all those cups. Anything more than 2 normally indicates family, community, friends, family. But this is not a bad card, but it's like holding on to what you've got. Take stock of what you've got. Because you can see he's sitting here and he's got all those cups all around him. And he holds on to those things. Those things that are his or hers are his. So that's number 2. And the third card is the Chariot. So this is the card of change. You didn't ask about moving, because normally in a general sense, Margaret, this would mean a change, moving. It could be emotional, it could be mental, it could be physical, but things need to be changed. Movement, balance. As you could see, the white Sphinx with the black, I'm not sure what you call the headdress, and then the black one with the black and white headdress, which is very yin-yang, yin-yang for some people, balance. And you could see that there's a lot of strength to the person who's the charioteer, alrighty? So the strength needed to make the change that you need, and initially that would be very stressful. But once you make the decisions and lay down the law the way you need to, I see a resolution coming in regards to stress release. Sometimes you have to tell somebody you can't do it. Okay, so that's the way I'm interpreting that. So I hope that meant a lot. Hi, Tina. I hope that you understood that, Margaret. Okay, so we can always go on in regard to that a little bit later. So she's got my number, so she can call me at any time. Yes, the cups are all about the same amount of people in my immediate. I want to move. Yeah, now remember, the move can be even emotional. Sometimes you have to think about the situation and make peace with it and then move on. Sometimes you could be, a person could be stubborn in a situation like it has to be this way. But sometimes when you let things go and then you're able to figure out things in another way rather than being staunch, like he was like this, holding on to those cups. So think about what that means. And then the Chariot means to move. Yeah, it could be physical, but it also could be an emotional thing as well. So hold on to that. So look how powerful a 3-card spread can be. Alrighty, so you're welcome. Juxtapose to the first card, the emotional based decisions brought into balance. That's excellent. Margaret, take a look at what Eric Vasquez wrote, because that's pretty cool. Alrighty, so we touched a bit. I see mastering in the Chariot. Yeah, because Margaret's very intelligent. She's very smart and very creative, okay? She also has the gift, even though she doesn't like to admit it. And so with that in mind, she can use those talents to make the peace, because it looks as if she has to make the peace in the home because nobody is on her level. You know what I mean? That's a nice way of saying no, we are all stubborn. It's a Montana thing, okay? All right, you can't help that. You know what I mean? So who else knows me that well? Jody knows how stubborn I can be. Alrighty, a whole bunch. Dorothy knows that I can be stubborn. There's a whole bunch of people from my past that are on here. So yeah, it's a Montana thing. We can be stubborn. So that is, yeah. Okay, at least I get to laugh this time, right? So that is just a 3-card spread. So look how much information they came out. Hello, Donna. Nice to have you here, Donna Marie Miller. It's powerful just as a 3-card spread. So it all depends on what you denote each space to be. Alrighty. So I wanted to show you that. Now, we talked about the Celtic cross, but it can be very difficult. And in many of the books that I read, believe it or not, I've seen different variations with the Celtic cross. Alrighty. So, hello from Pennsylvania. Nice to have you here, Donna. So, that, like I said, so we have the Celtic cross here. And I'm just going to tell you what each card or position means, okay? And I wrote it down the way that I use it. And the notes that I'm using come from a workbook that I wrote a long time ago. All right, so the first card represents what covers you. Okay, so let me, okay, so so the first card represents what covers you. So usually I take the card that represents a person, and then I'll throw another card, and what covers you. Second card represents what crosses you. Okay, for better or worse. This card is placed sideways. Okay, card 3 represent what is beneath you. So it's below the card. 4 represents what is behind you. 5 represent what crowns you, what's above you. Alrighty. 6 represents what is before you, and that's here. 7 represents what your fears are, the person that I'm reading for, the querent. 8 represents your thoughts about the people around you. Again, you're the querent, I'm talking about that. 9 represents the querent's, or you, hopes and dreams. Number 10 represents the overall and final outcome. So it could be a little difficult. It sounds like what is in the old Path book. It's an excellent guide, which is great. It's just that, like I said, as a beginner, it might be a little different. I'm sorry that if that light seems to leave you a little bright, because I could see the exposure changing on the camera here. But I suggest, if you would, go on the internet and download this spread, and you can have some fun with it. Especially somebody who isn't like a newbie. give it a try and see what you think. And Eric, I say these statements as I lay the cards as a validation as to what each card is. Yes. Eric is really involved with our wonderful community here and does a lot in the pagan community as well as tarot and such. So it's really awesome to have his input here. So that's the Celtic Cross. And when I put the course up, we'll go into that a lot deeper. I just feel that it's too much for this hour show to get in, because I could do a whole show just on the Celtic Cross. Alrighty, so this, I'm going to show you something that is my favorite. Alrighty, I had mentioned earlier on that I love to do birthday readings. Okay, so you can see there's one card in the center and many cards around, all around there, and it's really neat. There's 12 cards around the center, around the center card, and the center card is the card of you. And what that means is, let's say I'm reading for my sister, alrighty? So I would pick the card, because I know her personality so well, I would pick the card that I think would represent her, and I would put that in the center. And then I would, in the first position, so let's see if this makes sense. So we are in December right now. So if she came to me for this year reading, then the first card would be January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Anyway, and go on. But if this was May, then the first card I would put up would be June. Do you understand? So the following month. So if I came to you, and my birthday's in October, so you would put the card of me in the center, and then the first card I would pick up, or you would pick up for me, all right, would be November, because it would be a year from the time that I did the reading for someone. Please tell me if I'm making sense. Hi, Rain. I hope I'm making sense here. But whatever the month is that somebody comes in for a birthday reading, I would start with the following month. So if Tommy's birthday is in June, so I would start with July, and then a full year around that, okay? And then with each card, as you can see, you have the option depending on what you want. I've done this with just the major arcana cards, and I've done this with minor and major cards. So if you want to do this spread, play with it. All right, you know that the major arcana cards speak about the more important things in life, and the minor or the more mundane stuff, but it's not to negate the information. It just depends on what's going on in your life at this point. I prefer mixing the whole deck and using it. And then if somebody is not clear about a certain month, then I would clarify that with additional cards if they didn't understand the information given. A funny story. One time, Tommy and I went to Barnes & Noble, because I happen to adore Barnes & Noble, and I love to drink my tea, snack on a little something, and I love to read. And I love to read in quiet. I'm not kidding you. I call myself a semi-introvert. So I like it quiet, and I just started playing with my cards and having my tea, and I jotted down, I was playing it, and I did my own year for myself. And I drew out each card, and I wrote down little notes, and then I forgot about it. I saw the information and all that other stuff. I dated it, thank goodness. And then I folded the papers, stuck it in the book that I was buying, and I read the book. I read half the book. You know how we all do. We buy a book, and then we put it down, and then we go back to it later. And I went back to it later, must have been about 3 or 4 years later. Like, it fell out. It just fell out. I shoved it in there, and it looked as if I just wrote it yesterday. And the information that came out as how the year progressed was pretty spot on. And I was like, wow, I was totally surprised, because I'd forgotten all about it. I was doing a reading in a place that I normally don't do readings, so I just didn't think of it. But when I picked up the book, and I was totally surprised at the amount of information that was relevant to that year, because it was a very, very tumultuous year, a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting with people, and me trying to figure out things and get through this murkiness. This was quite a few years ago. And it was a positive outcome, and things turned out well. So I love doing things like that. So it's kind of like leaving money in your pockets, and then you put the clothes away for the season, and then when you pull them back out again, you find money. So it always reminded me of that. So I thought that was pretty cool. So this is probably one of my very, very, very favorite spreads. If I want to use something that is far more, more disciplined. So I like that. Yeah, I'm looking at all the smiley faces, but it's really amazing what information and the ego, isn't it? It's like, yeah, that didn't happen when it did. You know what I mean? And you look at things, and even me as a reader, sometimes I'm like, did I do that right? I still second guess myself from time to time. But that is one of the ways of working with a spread like this. So this is, remember, it's one card for every month with the person I'm reading for in the center. So that's 13 cards total. Alrighty. So, I hope you can see that. You will need space. So let's talk a little bit about that. Okay. So some tools of the trade. Alrighty. So let me, actually, I think I have a picture of it. Okay. So this is actually a picture of one of my spaces, and you can see that I took a cloth on the table, and I have crystals all around that, and you can see what I did here. So I did 3 across and 3 down with an outcome. Alrighty, that's just an example of some of the ways that I will throw cards down. If I'm doing cards professionally, meaning somebody has hired me to do a party or a corporate event, which I do a lot, I don't have the luxury of making such a pretty altar, because I have to knock out readings, 10-minute readings. I try not to do anything less than 15, but if it's a big corporate event, I might have to shorten that down. Thank you, Leah. So I try, at the very least, I have a cloth. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the birthday spread is really nice. I really enjoy doing that. So I'll take a nice cloth, something that speaks to me. Some people say only black. Some people go only white. Whatever speaks to you, okay? But it's designated just for your space. This is just my opinion and how I do things, and I'm trying to block that bright light there. With that in mind, so the cloth will be there, and then I'll have like a small altar cloth, or what I call an altar drawing cloth, because I'm drawing my cards on there. Alrighty, so I'll pull that out, and as you can see in the picture here, I have crystals all around it. Alrighty. The crystals, as we've talked before, draws the energy in, energizes the reading. I love the way crystals make me feel, so I will work with it. And this is just one way. Of course, my cards would have been either saged or incense, maybe Florida water, maybe salt. It depends on, holy water. Depends on what works for you and what you feel, will work as far as getting rid of energy. And, of course, your cards should be in a box or a pretty tarot bag. And by the way, a shameless promotion here. I just want to show this to you. I just got these in the store, and I'm so excited about it that I needed to show you all on this. And Maria, tell me this isn't perfect for Renee, but you see the dragonfly on this? It's really gorgeous. And it's actually 3D. It's like you can move the wings on that. And these are double-sided. So you can turn these inside out, so it's almost like having 2 bags in one. Anyway, a friend of mine makes these. This has a little pocket. So if you want to carry a crystal or something like that in there. So I just got this and I absconded with this. Burning Mugwort is awesome. Hi, Erica. It's nice to have you here. So yes, mugwort is another great herb. In fact, mugwort is like probably, they call it the witch's herb. So mugwort is great for cleansing your tools in general. Whether you're a witch, whether you're pagan or a heathen. Well, you know, I don't want to speak for everybody, so I should be careful about that. But mugwort is great for your mirrors, athames, all those types of things. So mugwort is great. It also can put you into your a state, like you're ready, or that feeling. You know, it's kind of like when you smell sage and then you get into that moment. Mugwort will also do that. So drinking mugwort will also kind of calm your nerves and chill out. So mugwort is a good all-around herb. So we talked about the tablecloth, we talked about crystals, and what you will put your cards in. So you're setting up sacred space is basically what we're looking for. And if you're lucky enough to have a space that you could do this in, use it. Use it well. Like I said, we're going to cleanse it. You can consecrate that. You can put your blessings in there. And your blessings are anything. Don't get caught up with, all right, well, what do I need to say? All right, no. Just say, this place is clean. This is sacred to me. Because remember, there are many different, I miss you too, Erica. There are many different paths here. There are many different religions here. And so one does not fit all. Alrighty. So the more you use the space, and we could talk about altar space and everything down the line, but make it yours. If you do online readings, which I also do, I like to send pictures with them. Alrighty. So I do like a bit of a report. I'll write it out based on the questions, and then I'll take a picture of the reading. So this way my querent or the client will also look at what I've done and read. You know, it puts 2 and 2 together. So it kind of helps out. So if you do that, it's a nice little tool. And I think your clients would really, really appreciate that. So that's kind of my way of doing it. So sacred space is a really, really important thing to do. And it would also help your mindset. That's the word I was looking for. Mindset. Alrighty. Now, do anybody out there have their own favorite spreads? And do you use them? Now, while I throw that out there, I'm just going to... Hi, Millie. So I'm seeing family come on there. Tracy West. So you can see the light. I'm being goofy. So Tracy West Hancock writes... She's going to repeat from her last question from your previous post. What do you do if a card shows up in a spread that doesn't seem to make sense in that position? All right. In other words, let's say the sun is in a tarot spread that is for obstacles. How would you handle it? The Connolly deck is really nice, by the way. I like that. So, Tracy, if you're listening, the sun shows up in obstacles. So, maybe, just maybe, you're not seeing the whole picture, and that's the obstacle. Alrighty? Because the sun, you know, when the sun comes up on the horizon, alright? With tarot, don't get so stuck on what the books tell you. Also, look at the imagery and see if something opens up intuitively. So if the sun shows up in an obstacle position, okay, maybe you're seeing too much or reading too much into the situation. You have to look at what the other cards are saying next to it. So I'm making a generalization. Alrighty. You have a member of one of your groups that did a spread that looked interesting. He said mind, body, spirit. Yeah. Yep. Do you take it literally as the child is the obstacle? Yes. And remember, this is coming from your intuition, okay? This is your third eye working. You have to work with the cards next to it, or what the question was. All right, do you understand? I know you understand this because you read. So if it had to do with the child, or the querent, or the person you're reading for is talking about a family thing, then the child in the obstacle spot could be the obstacle. If it has nothing to do with the child, all right? Now remember, the child also can mean new beginnings. The horse is white if we're talking about the Rider-Waite, alrighty? And maybe that new beginning, that possibility, it's almost like the Fool card in a way, right? Because the Fool card's a teenager getting ready to walk off a mountain, because most young people think they know it all and they don't, alrighty? So moving, because there's sunflowers in that card. I don't know the Rider-Waite at all, do I? Anyway, I'm being goofy. But there's sunflowers, which has to do, with the sun. It's associated with fire and energy and the newness that all of that brings. Because, the summer or the spring brings on the new beginnings, and a child is about new beginnings too. In my Native American teachings, because I'm a pipe carrier, by the way, we call it the unborn, the born, the child, the teenager. There were different, steps in denoting a person's stages in life, and we will work with that. I guess what I'm asking is, does a good card mean there is no obstacle at all? Oh, no. No. There's always a flip side to every card and every situation, right, Tracy? And the basic study, alrighty, and this is The World According to Bernadette Montana. The study of tarot, the study of even the gods and goddesses. There's no such thing as everything that is all good or all bad, right? Everything is great. There's a flip side to every card and every meaning. So I guess what I'm asking for, does a good card mean there's no obstacle? No. Just because good information is coming your way, what are you going to do with that information? Alrighty, are you going to use it properly? You get where I'm coming from? Again, Tracy, I don't know if it's a specific situation, but nothing is absolute, and that is key. Now, if anybody in the tarot, and we have to fight against this, don't we? If anybody in the community, or you take a reading and they say this is absolute, go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. Because remember, it's all about what you do with the information that comes out with the cards. I hope I'm explaining that correctly, Tracy. I'm trying to do my best, because I don't have. If one day we gotta sit together and then do the show together. So the spread position is what you pay attention to, not just the card. Yeah. If you work with spreads that way, yes. And why do I say that? Because sometimes I just don't. Like you saw in that first picture, I did 3 across and 4 down. My favorite is 4 across and 4 down. And I kind of use every card as a clarifier for everyone else. Alrighty? And then I allow my intuition to come out. But that is me. Okay, so we can have some fun with that, you know what I mean? And we can share readings online, which would be a really, really awesome thing to do. So so I hope I made that. Thanks. This was just a general question with an example about something. Yeah, and we could talk more about that, Tracy. You have a lot to offer, so I love this, because it's a challenge, and that's what I'm looking for. So you get the idea. Now, let's look at that. Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you here. So you get the idea when it comes to spreads. There are many, many, many books. You can go on the internet and take a look at many different types of spreads, but you can also make up your own. So let me go to a question that was also given. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So, Flame, alrighty, I don't know if you're there. Yeah, it was a good question. I agree with you. So, Flame, I don't know if you're on. I don't think you are, but I hope that you get to see this. So Flame writes, I have a hard time coming up with my own spreads. Any advice or experiences on that process would be helpful. Now, have any of you worked with your own spreads? I'm like looking at the light on my phone. That seems to help out a little bit. I don't have that shadow over here, huh? Yes, I am being goofy. So, has anybody come up with their own spreads here? Give me a quick yes or no. Come on, there's a lot of people here. Let me see. Has anybody here come up with their own spreads? Because I've come up with a bunch of them. No news? Nobody answering? I would love to hear this. I've come up with many. Alrighty. Some that I thought I came up with, and then I'll see it in another. Yes. Okay. So Mary writes. Leah says nope. Alrighty. Mary, challenger. Was the need to come up with your own spread an actual need, or were you just playing around and said, hey, I think this works for me? Alrighty. Chris Lopez writes, yes, all the time. And, okay, hey, Luna, it's good to see you here. Els writes, no. Okay. So, do you think that people who are more comfortable with the tarot will tend to do their own? I tend to think so. Alrighty. Yes, all the time. So yes, I have come up with my own spreads. A lot of times I'll even do it on the spot because Spirit's just telling me, okay, take this many cards and throw it down. Alrighty. I do a 5 to 7 day forecast for a weekly reading. That is awesome. Now imagine doing that and then keeping a journal so you could see how things are happening weekly. Now, if you remember in some of my earlier shows, I said right now, especially for beginners, throw a 1-card reading for advice. Alrighty? And then, record that in your journal. You can either jot it down or take a picture of that. And hi, Louie. You know what I mean? And then put it in a journal. And that will help you with your studies with the tarot. It's not a bad idea to just do it anyway. I have a book for my tarot. I have a book for my magical studies with the Kabbalah. I have a separate book for other, forms of divination. So my Book of Shadows is a bunch of them. And then I have my own large book for the coven and the rituals that we do and stuff like that. So, you could do that with tarot. You could do that with oracle. You could do that with runes because Mike Hicks does the runes. You could do that even with pendulum, but the pendulum is a little bit different. So before I even get into pendulum, I would rather have somebody who works with the pendulum all the time. I would feel more comfortable doing that. So I would love to have more guests come on here as well. So I'm just making sure that I have everybody's questions answered here because it was a bunch. But it's nice to see that people actually do their own readings and their own spreads, which means there's a comfort level there. And that's what I'd like to get you all doing. So that is one form of reading. Now, I also do, I want to see if I can, and you can see that it's all in a straight line. All right, can everybody see that? Okay, so I call it the 7 steps. So card 1, okay, and we're starting from the bottom up, okay, and I'll put the picture up again. So card 1 represents the situation. It's the first step. Alrighty. Card 2 represents your emotions and feelings about the situation. This is the second step towards a successful conclusion from within. Alright. So first step, second step. You have the first situation, and second situation is, oh my God, how do I do this? Because your emotions get all involved. Third step represents what you need to say in order to solve the problem, to solve the issue. And Lee, I'm going to get to that in a second. So, what you need to say. Voice out loud what needs to be done. Alrighty? Card 4 represents how others see you in this situation. Like I did in my 3-card reading, Not sure that everybody approves of what I do when it comes to my path and my spirituality, but that's okay. 5 represents what you need to do in regards to the problem. So here's another bit of advice coming towards you. All right? So that's the next step. Card 6 represents the lessons you need to learn from the issue. So every issue, every obstacle is a chance to learn. Alrighty? Learn from your mistakes. You had a bad relationship in the past? Why? What was your part in it? Everything is 50-50. 7 represents your final outcome and the final step in the situation. So let me put this out here again. And that's another favorite spread of mine. Okay, I just want you all, yet, if you're jotting down notes, would like to see you do that. Alrighty. So that's another favorite one. And it goes from 1 being at the bottom all the way up to 7. And all the different steps that you need to do in dealing with this situation. So, okay, you mentioned, this is from Leah. Leah, am I pronouncing your name Leia? So I think it's Leah. You mentioned spirits telling you to make a spread on the spot. Hope this isn't a weird question, but where do you think the spirits come from and why do they want to help us? So, in my opinion, Leah, it's spirit guides. Because when I do a reading, I mentally call in my spirit guides. Like Princess Leah. I love it. Hello, Wicca Lua. I hope I pronounced that right, too. Nice to have you here. And it's when I start a person's reading, I'll mentally call in my spirit guides or ask them for my guidance or their guidance in regards to a situation so that I give the best possible reading to the client that I am working with. So I'm trying to work with that, clear myself out, clear my mind out, and then be able to do it. So it's my opinion that it is my guides helping me to do this. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Hello, Terry. I just love the whole Princess Leia thing. Yeah, and I like call it in. You know what I mean? But yeah, I do that every time I do a working for someone else. It's almost like asking permission to be able to do this because, in my opinion, when I'm working with somebody, they've given me their permission, but I also, with the guides that the person that I'm reading for also have their guides and their ancestors, and I also ask permission of theirs. So if they know that I'm doing the best that I can for them, then I feel that the energy flow is really good. So I hope that understands. No, I don't. I don't just call out. I do a little prayer. Hi, Terry. And we have Kevin on as well. So, and, well, we have a couple of things going on here. I'm looking at all of the questions here. So, no, I don't call them out. I feel they're always with me, to be honest with you. So, you may look at things a little bit differently, but I believe that they're always with me, and when I need them on the spot, I'm not putting them on the spot. I feel that since my space that I have, and I do mainly my readings at the store, I have a sacred space that's always protected. I have my wards up, I have my protection spells up, and all that other. So I feel like it's a clean space anyway, and so when I walk in there, they already know that I'm on. It's time to get down to business. So that's the beauty about having a dedicated spot if you can. Alrighty. I'm not going to say that you can't do readings if you don't, because many people don't have a dedicated spot, or they're with people who can't, or they have animals who always jump all over things. But what you can do, and just little tips before we go, is maybe a chest that you would put pillows and blankets in. Those make great altars. In other words, you could put your tools in there and stuff. Or cigar boxes make a great space, for something on the go, and you can close them up, especially if you have animals, things like that. I've seen people make altars out of anything. And when it comes to your cards, you don't necessarily need a big space, I use an antique table that's round. It's hard to gauge it, but it's maybe, I don't know, 2 by 2 by 2, 2 feet all around. And my spreads fit in there along with my crystals. I have a big selenite ball. I have my labradorite, and then I have my quartz crystals. So to me, selenite keeps the peace, because I read on a lot of heavy things here. But hello, Michelle. We have a couple of Michelles here today. So that's the way that I work with my cards and my spreads and stuff. So that you can try that 7 steps spread also. Especially, be kind of cool to use something like that in regards to maybe a business decision or something that you're conflicted about. Like with me, the 3-card reading just confirms what I needed to do and what I did for my sister, and I think that that's good information there. So any last minute questions? So how much time we got here? So we have 4 minutes. Actually, we're doing pretty well here, because usually I run way over. Now, there were 2 questions I wanted to. One is by Shireen and Craig. So Craig and Shireen, I think you're both very similar when it comes to the question. So Craig Marty writes, how to gain clientele. Alrighty. And then Shireen writes, how to advertise yourself for paid readings. All right. So here I am saying it again. So how to gain clientele. I would say, Leah, post that. I'm going to do my best here. So how to gain clientele. It took me a long time, because I started at different stores, and when I worked with the different stores, I gained, clientele that way. And if I wasn't at the store, and remember, we have ethics, you don't take the clientele away from a store. But if they search for you, they search for you. So just hear me on this one. Never go into a store, do readings, and then take that clientele away. Please do not do that. Have you ever felt stuck in a reading? If so, is that an important message? Good question. I have a feeling we're going to run a little over. So I started to gain a clientele because my word of mouth became very good. Alrighty. And it started slow, Shireen. And it's the same thing for you, Craig. It started slow. I used to get very frustrated with that. But that frustration is good, because then it poked me. I had another word and it just flew out of my head. It pushed me to do more and to do better. Alrighty. So it does start out slow. It does not go like gangbusters. And back then I wasn't doing Skype readings, and I wasn't doing email readings, as I do a lot of those now. And Craig, you know that. And as the time went by and as the years went by, I learned a lot about how to deal with people, how to respond to people, how to be an ear for people. Because sometimes, actually a lot of the times, tarot is just about being able to listen to what the client wants, not what you want to say. Alrighty? And it can take a little while, especially with younger people, because they go, I know what I'm going to do. I know what I need to say. But that's not how you deliver information to people. And then that's even another subject. So I suggest starting, believe it or not, with starting to learn a bit about psychology. I'm a big fan of Carl Jung, or Jung. I've heard all different ways of pronouncing his name. And learning how to deliver the information for people. So it's the same thing with you, Craig. Alrighty, it's the same thing. Learn how to deliver the information. Now, how to advertise? Certainly, Facebook is a great way of doing it, and joining a lot of groups. Like I have the Breed's Closet Tarot and Divination Forum. Little plug there. I encourage all of you to join that, because we have a lot of great information from many different readers. I'm not the only reader there, thank goodness. I would love to hear more in regard to what other readers have to say. But Shireen and Craig, I would go to different forums, see what's out there, see what is available in your area. Alrighty, so pretty much, I read for people all around the world. Alrighty, but you got to remember, I also do a festival, and I do a lot of events out of my store, so that helps out. But I would say, you make a Facebook page that promotes you. You put up a website, not just Facebook, because people will look at that as being, she's not taking it seriously. It's only, a part-time thing. I would also develop a nice website, work with that, have pictures of yourself, get testimonials up there, which I'm lacking. I should be doing the same thing. But it's working nice, like with this tarot and divination forum is working well. But I think it's working well because people know who I am as well. Not just tarot, but because I do crystal work and I do Reiki work, and I'm a priestess in the area, so people have an idea as to who I am, and I'm pretty good at networking. So that I hope that these are ways of doing it. I'm not a big fan of print ads because I've never gotten anything off of a print ad, but I would vend a lot, Shireen and Craig. If you're able to do vending and go to different festivals, that's also another way of doing it, because again, that helps encourage that word of mouth. So I hope I did that well. Okay, so let's see. Leah, she has a question for her daughter. She wants to know if it's easier for you to read people how much does it change your view as opposed to reading for a stranger? Okay, good question. It would really be fun to swap readings with the people in your group. I agree. So, great question. Yes, it's not easier, be honest with you, to read for people that I know. So what I wind up doing, so Mary, if you don't mind me, I'm going to use you as an example because I've read for you in the past, and the same thing with Craig and a few other people here, and Maria too. I've read for a lot of people here. So if it's, let's say I'm reading for Mary, I'm going to say, Mary, I know what's going on in your life, so if you want me to do your reading, let's be specific about the questions. It's impossible to do a cold reading because my clients that I've known for 20, 30 years, I know a lot what's going on in their lives. They know what's going on in my life and stuff. So what I always recommend is for somebody I know and they do repeated readings with me, I ask them to keep a journal. So if I've given you information this one particular week and you liked it or you didn't like it, that's great. Just jot down what happened as a result of that information that I gave you. Alrighty, then when you come back to me, I'm going to go, did it work for you? Did it not work for you? And if it didn't, let's figure out why. Alrighty, so Mary, yada, yada, yada happens to you and everything. And I know this and I know what's happened in the past. And I know what's going on emotionally and mentally and all that other sort of happy stuff, right? I'm going to go, Mary, I know what's going on. So let's gear the question either differently if it's not related to that stuff. If it's something new, let's figure out what that is. So, Leah, I hope that's helping you. If it's a stranger, that's great. I could do a cold reading, no problem, and see what's going on, unless I'm using the Lenormand system. Alrighty, so Lenormand, I always ask them, what's your question? I'll pull the card that represents their question, put it down in the center, and then I will read around it. So what I do is I give my client the choice. Even with tarot, I have a couple of decks, so I'll ask them what deck that they want to use, or do they want a cold reading, or do they want something more directed to a specific question. And I allow the client to use their intuition to let me know. Alrighty. So I'll tell you what, Leah, most of the time it's people I know. And I think my questions, my readings are very good because they keep coming back. But I'm honest. So ethics here, people. Make sure you tell them this. And you can say, hey, Mary, I already know the situation, so why are you here? Are you just looking for confirmation on something? Bam, there we go. So you see how I did that. Alrighty, so that's my opinion on how to work with that. I hope that helps. And let me say, vending has gotten my name out more. So this is Chris Lopez, and you're welcome, Leah. And you could see that this is working with Chris. And actually, because Chris is doing so much that she's actually done a few of my events. And she's very good. So I can recommend her too. So here's another way of getting the word out. Alrighty, so Craig and Shireen, if a person, not just me, any other person who hosts festivals and all that other sort of stuff can recommend you, then your word of mouth is going to be very good. Now, I'm going to sound egotistical, but people trust me in regards to, recommendations with other people. So I would recommend Chris. So, and there are many others that are out there. Some readers will specialize in love and relationships. Others will specialize in, let's say, a business thing, or should I do things magically, or, that sort of thing. Me, I think I'm broad on this. I prefer the more challenging things, like if somebody's not sure about what kind of working they want to do, we can read on that. So I'll read on the situation and what they want to do, and I'll see what kind of information, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'd love to vend out there. Well, Erica, maybe we can do that. Alrighty. I'm working on Beltane, which is going to be May 2nd of 2020. So we're still doing that. So that's not an issue there. Alrighty. So I think I'm hoping I touched on anything. Is it easier for you? I think I got all of the questions. Let's not forget that their guides will work with you and yours. Absolutely. Alrighty, call out. Okay, I think I've gotten everybody's questions. I'm really hoping on that. But building your business is a time-consuming thing. It takes time to do that. Okay. So, and Flame, we already touched on that, and we touched on Tracy. So, okay. So I think I answered everybody's questions, and if anybody has any last minute things, please let me know. Shameless self-promotion. I have tons of these beautiful bags in many different colors in. Just came in. She's just a wonderful artist, and she's trying to get her word out. So I'm doing this for her. And this is her card. Ugh, go figure. Okay, so Allie Pace. This is her card. So her stuff is at my store. Alrighty, this is hers. So something like this is in the $20-$25 range. It's double-sided. And then I also have Claude's and all that other sort of stuff. So she's a wonderful artist. And actually, good one. If any of you also, not just the cards, not just runes or anything on this, do you also make other tools such as altar cloths and altar cloths and tarot bags and rune bags, and what else do you specialize in? Feel free to advertise what you make as well, because there may be somebody in your area that could order from you. Alrighty, yes, you could order this. I will ship these out, but there are many other people who also do a lot of awesome things. Is there a minute for a 3-card spread? Sure, Leah. Well, this will be in the last reading. How's the challenge? And I won't take you up on this until if I don't see a response from this, I'm not going to do it. If next week I bring people on and we share readings, what do you think about that? So if I call, let's say, Leah in next week and we share readings with one another, or somebody posts, I like that even better. Somebody posts a question and I'll bring another reader on to read it. I like to do that. Challenge. Okay, is that challenge accepted? Okay, I love a challenge. Everybody's going, yes. Oh, awesome. This is what I want to see. This is what I want to see. This is great. Okay, so Leah, give me your question. I will do that 3-card spread, and I would recommend anybody else to join in on this. Good. Look at everybody going yes. In the meantime, while Leah's typing up her question to me, please join us on Breed's Closet Tarot and Divination Forum. We're really rocking on that forum, so I really recommend everybody going on that. It would really be nice to see what everybody has. The information is really rocking on there. The holiday season is here. Please shop small, support your local businesses. We need that, because the big stores aren't going to give you the type of attention that you would need. Like, yeah, Barnes & Nobles has tarot, but is anybody going to help you with that? Is anybody going to help you choose the right card? Is anybody going to help you with the tools that you could use and the type of... You get where I'm coming from. So I suggest looking into that, alrighty? I am working on the tarot course. As you can see, I took one of the chapters in here, and this chapter was all about spreads. So I am working on that, and I'm thinking sometime next month I may get started on that. And I'm throwing out a number. It's not solid, but if I did a 6-month course at 300, I think I can do this. Alrighty. And, you know, I need a few people. I can't just have 2 or 3. It would be nice if I had, you know, maybe 8, 10 or more. And we take a deposit up front and then pay it off. And the reason why I want to take that deposit is a lot of people have a tendency to throw that, you know, they sign up, they're all excited, and then they don't do anything with it. So I want to throw that out for about approximately, this is still in the works because people have been asking me, and then we'll take it from there. So, okay, so I want to know, if I were to cast a spell for starting a new business, would it be successful? So, okay, great, because I had mentioned that this is one of my favorite types of doing that. Alrighty, so I'm going to do a 3-card reading, and Leah, as I mentioned before, 3 cards, I have to define what the 3 steps will be. So that's what this is going to be. 3 steps. Step 1, step 2, and step 3 in order to, if you should do the spell. All right. You're asking, would you, if you cast a spell for starting a new business? Okay. So Leah, I'm going to go with it and see what we've got here. And then we're going to end it here. All right. So card 1, card 2, and card 3. So the first card I picked up is the Star. So this is as you know, a sun is a star, but the star is your dreams, your wishes, what you want to come true, what you want to manifest. It is very possible. 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land, has to do with balance. As you can see, the water is pouring into the water and water pouring into the land, fertilizing the land. You can see the mountain in the background and green all around. This is pure. This is really, really a nice card. Alrighty. So number 1, first step, manifest your dreams. I also, since I look at this as manifestation for your dreams, that's your spell. Alrighty. So that's 1. Second step. Now this guy's being stingy with his money, isn't he? So Pentacles is the element of earth, and it's also money. So what happens if you're a little stingy? All right, think about it. So second step, spend what you need. You don't have to be extravagant, but don't skimp on anything either. Alrighty, so again, I don't know the type of business. I'm assuming that it could be metaphysical, but you can see he's holding on to that money. And then Temperance. There's 2 cards here that have a lot to do with balance. Tempering your feelings, right? Again, 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. So that has a strong connection to the first card now, isn't it? So the first card is the Star. So this looks good. All right. I'm still going to say that it looks good, but There is no buts. But this is more complicated than just a 3-card reading here. I'm looking at that spell work, but I want you to make sure that you word this correctly, and then how you put out the spell, that you're able to achieve it. In other words, you have the means to achieve it the way that you want to achieve it. So in other words, start small and work your way up. That's kind of how I'm looking at this. I don't know if anybody agrees with me or disagrees with me, and that's fine if you disagree. Alrighty? But I'm looking at, yes, the spell is going to work. Make sure you word it correctly, and start small. Don't throw everything in right away. Alrighty? Don't be stingy, but don't throw everything right away. Get your essentials and figure out your place. Alrighty, and how you can handle it. If you're new to business, you got to learn about taxes, and you have to learn about the area that you're going to be in. Like, you know, when I moved to Cornwall, that was a hard nut to crack in the beginning, and Maria will back me up on that one. You know what I mean? And oh, look at all these new people here. Whoa. Hey Linda, it's good to see you. I bet you your weather's a lot nicer than it is here. It's cold and rainy. But, Leah, does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. Alrighty. Yeah, there's more to this. Like, you have to be smart about what you're doing here. Alrighty. If you can get some advice, I don't know if it means like whether it has to do with monies, maybe get an accountant or a bookkeeper or something along those lines. But I like what I'm seeing. So the first card is the Star. The second card is the 4 of Pentacles. And the last card is Temperance. So also make notice that you have 2 major arcana cards out of the 3. So the most important thing is the spell work, how you word it, okay? And the Temperance, all right? So I hope that helped. I hope that helped. Okay, so let's go back to our challenge, and I know I have to really kind of, because both cards have a strong relationship with one another, okay? And in the tarot, you'll notice that cards do that. So I have to, we're way over. Alrighty, so next week we will do this, and I challenge you. I will want to bring people on, and we can do some readings online. So if that all works, well, that spread is really very balanced. Yes, Terry. I agree. So the Tarot and Divination Forum, post your comments in there. I read every one. I may not be able to write because we get hundreds on there, and I'll be putting this up on YouTube. And by the way, if you would, I have a YouTube channel. Right now, I've just been taking these classes and putting up there, but I also want to experiment with YouTube Live. Alrighty, so I was also kind of thinking of maybe doing readings there, but here would be fun to swap the readings because I get that interactive aspect here. So next week's challenge is we're going to read for one another. Alrighty? And I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to do it. Yeah, I might do readings. I might bring a person to do a reading for me, or I'll bring somebody else on, and you guys post your questions, and we will do that. Alrighty? So, many blessings, everybody. Be safe. This is the holiday season. So, if you would, keep an eye out on people. Keep an eye out for one another. There's a lot of people who have a lot less than we do. So, see what you can do for the season. Again, it's for everybody. So it's Christmas, it's Yule, it's Hanukkah, it's everything and anything under the sun. Diwali, and there are so many religions and spiritualities I can't touch. So I am going to say happy holidays to everybody. I don't give a damn what anybody says to me, what holiday it is. I know that the spirit of the message is love and being grateful for everybody. So I am definitely a non-PC person, so you'll get used to that. So many blessings. You're all awesome. If it wasn't for you, none of this would work, and I love the insights that everybody have been giving me, and all of the positive thoughts and everything being given to us. So, blessings, everybody. It's awesome. I will see you next Monday, but I will also see you in our Tarot and Divination Forum, and hopefully you see me in YouTube. Alrighty, so look under, I think it's under Bernadette Montana in YouTube, and I will add you to the subscribers. Alrighty, so, mwah! So long, everybody. It's